Hello, and welcome to Epiphanology. I'm your host, Corey, and this is my co-host, Matt.
Hi.
You're probably wondering what Epiphanology is, so here's how our podcast works. First, we talk about how each other's doing, because that's a nice thing to do. Then we get into our topic, which I'm not going to spoil yet, and then we talk about our topic. And then, after we talk about it for a majority of the episode, we talk about what the takeaway is over the topic and agree on an epiphany of sorts that we have realized throughout talking about the topic. And then we sprinkle a little bit of a teaser of what's to come. So with that all being said, how's your day, Matt?
My day was pretty good. Really lazy, just kind of chilling around, playing video games. How about yours?
That sounds so nice. That's pretty much what I did as well. I didn't really play many video games, though. I
was about to ask what game you're playing.
No.
But you kind of answered that question before I could ask it.
I wasn't really playing any games. I more stuck to watching stuff today. Because I felt like I needed to catch up on some things. And then as soon as it was like a few things that I've gone through, I looked at the rest and I saw the feed and I was like, I don't want to watch the rest of any of this. So I moved on.
You're watching a favorite streamer or a TV show?
I was watching my YouTube feed for the most part. I have started watching the newest season of one of my favorite TV shows because it finally came out on one of the things I watch stuff on. And it's... I showed you an episode of it before. It's the Skinwalker Ranch thing. There's
a new season for that?
Yeah, there's a third season that came out, and they're currently releasing the fourth. And so I'm watching through the third season, and it is getting pretty interesting. Just the series that are coming out.
I should probably start watching that.
Dude, I would totally be willing to just go back and restart watching that with you.
I'll probably watch a few episodes and I'll be like, if I really get into it, I'll be like, yo, come watch this, man. Yeah. And I've been trying to find something to get into watching, but you know me, I like to watch my anime. Like I don't know what anime to watch.
That's the thing that I enjoy.
And so I end up just going to YouTube.
That it's one of those things that you don't really have to care too much about. I guess that's not really exactly what I mean. I mean more it's something that's easy to get into, and it's fun to think about things that come out of it, and that's kind of what this podcast is that I'm kind of thinking about now. But it's a fun one. Yeah.
It's like a kind of, you don't have to get invested into that show per se.
It will draw you in anyways.
It's a good one to watch. It will, yeah. Hopefully.
It definitely hooked me. It was just because I just saw it on Hulu originally, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Let's watch one episode. I watched through it. I'm like, okay, I want to see where this experiment goes. I need to see the next episode. And then I was hooked.
Yeah, I'll have to yell at me and remind me to actually watch that. So probably honestly forget that it exists. You know me and my memory.
But yeah, so with all of that being said, today's topic, it's one we have discussed in person and to various lengths.
This has been the topic that pretty much sparked this idea.
That is actually something I was going to bring up. Was that our kind of idea for this podcast spurred from this conversation, I'm fairly certain. And
I know we had the conversation a few times and talked about it in length a few times, but just that one time where we really got into
your first apartment.
Yeah.
Just sitting in your room.
God.
Surrounded by
good old days.
Guns and just talking. Because as divisive of a topic that is in the modern world, in a zombie world, guns are very important.
Yep.
Any sort of thing that
so hard to survive,
blasts or stabs is incredibly important.
I mean, hell, a shovel is important.
Yeah. You got a shovel? Perfect. Sharpen that edge and you'll be good.
I'd love to just run around the shovel like it's Far Cry 5.
Yeah, just a shovel launcher, which was a thing in that game.
I never got to see. I'm sad.
tangent. Yeah, you could have like 2 shovels on you at a time and just reload your shovel into it and shoot it at people. Which, that's why one reason I'm not going to play Far Cry 6 is because they totally rewrote the entire weapon system, and I don't like it.
Oh,
they made it so you create your own weapons.
What?
Yeah.
That's confusing.
Maybe you found an extra, like, rail rider, like the handheld, like, little spinning thing that takes you up and down zip lines.
Yeah.
Like, maybe you find one of those and some saw blades, and you merge them together to just have a little saw blade shooter. That's the kind of thing that would be going on there.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a cool concept.
Yeah, it's cool in concept, and I think Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom is doing it how it should be done.
Oh, I've seen some of that.
But Far Cry 6 just took it way out of proportion, and I don't think it's good.
It doesn't really seem like the kinds of games where that would work out all that great unless they... I mean, there's a chance that it could have done good, but they'd have to be really worked specifically, like tailored to certain things. And if they don't hit that mark just right, I can't imagine that would really work well.
Yeah. Well, like I saw in Fallout 4, I think, had something similar where you could modify your weapons, and so like they'd have this like extra damage thing and like as a stat, and it would also change the actual physicality of the item a little bit.
Yeah.
I think there's a huge difference between that and taking it up to where Far Cry 6 did, because you ended up with things that like shot this nail that got covered in gasoline and was lit on fire all in like the span of a few seconds at people. You just shot that at people.
Which, I mean, as cool as that would be, it's so unrealistic.
Yeah.
And I know it's a video game, it doesn't need to be realistic, but there's still, from what I've seen playing, at least Far Cry 5, there is still a realism to the game.
And that's the thing, is like, with Far Cry 5, they kind of hit this point where they weren't sure, it felt like, they weren't quite sure if they wanted to go with seriousness and realism or goofy antics, because like you're running around in this cultist part of Montana, and then suddenly the locals are like, you want to have fun at this testy festy we're gonna have over here? Like
what?
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah. Rocky Mountain oysters.
Typical Montana.
Yeah. So it kind of derails itself.
I don't think they know what they want.
Yeah, it kind of feels like they don't even know what they want, because they could have had such a like a strong, serious story, and it feels like there's a different team also working on the game who are like, what about this funny like dick joke? And it's just it doesn't seem like it fits sometimes, and it kind of felt like that's what happened with the gun mechanics in 6. It felt like somebody was just like, this is a really cool idea and I want to shove it into this game.
And that makes me wonder, like, the leeway that the creators have over there, like the developers. Like someone who's, or I guess it would probably be like a team working on certain areas, and like the ones that working on the guns probably weren't really checked by other teams, and so they're just like, well, we want to do this, so here it goes.
But at the same time, you have games like Hitman, where it kind of plays that with the funny, like you did this in a really strange way, and it doesn't really affect any of the story at all usually. Whereas having like that goofiness in Far Cry 5, it's just like, why is this here?
And it's like the main story it's got to be a pretty serious story, right? And they just have those little random things.
Yeah, I mean, the true ending of Far Cry 5 is just to stare at a dude for 10 minutes and then leave.
What?
If you've ever played the intro of the game, you're supposed to just stand at that guy and then you leave, and that's the true ending. you're supposed to not put the cuffs on him and leave.
Why is that the true ending?
Major spoilers for everyone who hasn't played the game. No matter which way you go at the very end of the game, if you kind of choose a good or bad way of finishing that final fight, you either end the world in nukes and stuck in the original bunker with the guy you stare at the beginning with the handcuffs, or you end up killing all your friends in a fit of mind what's it called?
Control?
Yeah, mind control. Yeah. Like you were, because at some point in the actual playthrough of the game, you're going through mind programming, forced mind programming, but yeah.
But eventually you just kill your friends?
Yeah.
Jeez.
That is the other end of the game, is you end up just murdering the people you were trying to save the whole time.
That's so messed up.
Yeah.
That leads
it's either the main antagonist was right the whole time, or you just end up killing your friends.
It's so messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's say I was a zombie, right?
Oh,
Going back to
the
topic. Would you be able to kill me? Since we're talking about killing friends.
Oh man, that's a good segue. Oh, would I be able to kill you? Oh man.
Let's say that's if I'm coming after you, right?
If you're coming after me.
If I'm coming after you.
Yet.
Or I can make the stakes a little harder. Or maybe easier.
I think this is pretty friggin' hard.
Would it change anything if I was to say, what if I was going after Esther?
If you're already taken and gone, I can't imagine Esther's not already gone as well. That's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, unless you two meet up and you're surviving, you two aren't that far away from each other.
Yeah.
And I live in more of a populated area.
I know I'd try my hardest to help Esther get through. But I gotta be honest, I don't know if they can do it. I don't think that's a world that they are prepared for at all. I mean, they're a fierce person. They have passion, and like they can have vigor, but like we know, they can't do powerful things for long.
Yeah.
So it's possible. It's a slim chance, I'd say, but I think I'm saying they're probably not going in that world. I think they might be a zombie.
God. Man, so you might have to take out two friends.
Maybe. I don't see you turning, but if you did, I don't think I'd be able to prevent you from doing anything. As much as I would like to, like, maybe I wouldn't be able to take you out, but I think I'd at the minimum be able to prevent damage.
Just trap me somewhere.
Yeah.
No, that'd be so hard. Like, see your friend as a zombie and try and stop.
Well, yeah, let me turn the question on you. Like, what would you do if I started coming at you?
Oh boy.
I was turned and coming at you.
No. Ugh. I would
run away. That would probably work somewhat.
That would, to a degree. See, I would.
If I was the only one that you knew, like, if you had a knowledge of that, I would be the only one after you. Then yeah that would probably work. But
see, I'd like to have the idea of, like, yes, I could. I wouldn't just be like, oh well, you're a zombie, so I'm gonna like shoot you or stab you with a sword or whatever.
Yeah, you have that like moment of realization, like, oh
yeah,
god.
I would probably definitely do it with like tears or. No, because I'm not that kind of person. I would just probably block everything out, and then I'd try and do it, and then I'd just break down crying. But it wouldn't hit until after the deed is done.
Yeah.
But I'd probably have to try and convince myself that, like, even if it's not true, try to convince myself that you're suffering, and then I'd just be doing you good.
Yeah.
And then I think that would probably have to be the motivation to actually be able to, I don't know, stop you with whatever I have.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I would not want to have to do it with a sword because that's up close and personal, and that would just hit so much harder.
Yeah.
Than from a distance.
No, like, if I am a zombie, shoot me. Just shoot me.
Yeah.
If I'm coming at you fast, go for a knee. Like,
yeah.
Then I won't be moving as fast and you can take me out.
Or if I could figure out a way to blow up a car next to you or something. That way I don't even have to look.
Yeah, okay. Alright.
It's like...
Maybe that would be a way for me to help
do something.
take you out, honestly. I didn't even think of that, like, remote detonation.
Yeah. Just something.
Or even just
or
a
hell,
fuse.
even a Molotov.
Yeah.
Might do the trick. Granted, oh no, I don't know if I'd want that. I'd have to have like earplugs in or something. That way I wouldn't have to hear that.
Well, in theory, if you are a zombie in the natural sense, it wouldn't be someone screaming in pain. It would still be more like just blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, I would totally just throw a Molotov or something and run away. And just hope that was enough to put you out of your misery.
Which in most cases, probably not, but...
No.
Well,
I mean, it'll mobilize you, maybe. Yeah. And then, hopefully, something will stop the rest.
Well, that's an interesting thing that I've always wondered about zombies. Is like, eventually, because of how typical zombies work, because like The Walking Dead, that's a classic case of your normal zombies. You'd think that after such a long time, the brain would just rot and die, because there's no way to like keep the body living and operating and fresh for that long, you know?
Yeah. There'll eventually be a point where it rots to so far that it will just kind of shut down on its own.
So,
but if we're like talking about zombies that are caused by like a disease, there is a chance that it could just be like a zombie effect on their mentality rather than them physically. So
like bath salts.
We could have zombies that look exactly fine. I mean, sure, they might look a little dead in the eyes and in the face and, you know, not expressive, but they won't be like rotting or anything, but they'll have that like brains, let me eat you kind of a thing, right? Which at that point, the body is essentially still maintaining itself and could last for a long time. Granted, it probably won't be trying to drink water or eat food, so it'll just push itself to the point where it quite literally can't.
Well, I mean, maybe that's the thing, is maybe it's getting all of the sources it needs from eating actual flesh in person.
Possibly. It could get enough to survive.
Maybe. It might be a case, if that were the situation, where they would need to be like an apex predator at a certain stage. They would need to be like a strong, powerful, fast, agile hunter. And like, I know this is because we have so many various types of zombies that we could talk about. This episode is scheduled to be just normal, or your classic zombies. But like in Left 4 Dead, there is the it's either the jockey or the hunter. I'm forgetting what it is.
It's the one that's like parkour-y.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, that one's the hunter.
Jumps up on top of you from random places.
Like pins you down.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's the hunter.
Yeah. And what that does is, like, it pins you down and it starts ripping into you and eating you. Like, that's what, like, that kind of zombie would have to be like in order for them to actually go and eat enough material, including all that physical activity that wears down the body and needs more calories to fuel those. So I feel like that would be something super easy to pinpoint, but at the same time, it would take a little bit of time for them to pinpoint it.
Yeah.
Like,
and this is another thing. Like, the zombies could evolve. I guess not really evolve, but more so like adapt to what they have to do in certain areas.
mm-hmm.
Like, probably further out away from the cities, the zombies are probably going to be more agile and everything because they have to. There's not as much food around, so they're gonna have to really hunt for it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in like a city, you know, there's so much that they might just get slow, and there'll probably be a lot of people like fortifying things, so they'll probably try and, like, I guess in a sense possibly get stronger. Or have like a group that sticks together to be able to get people and like break down fortifications and all this stuff. Or they might just start turning to eating zombies each other, and then you won't have to worry about.
Yeah.
And
a fun thought I like to have, because it's a spoof zombie film, is Shaun of the Dead. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
I haven't even heard of that.
Shaun of the Dead is about this guy who works like your normal ass job, and he has two roommates, and one of them is his best friend, and they live in the UK, and there happens to be the start of zombies while they're there, and it's a spoof of Dawn of the Dead, and essentially what happens is, as they go through time, through the zombies, the main group makes their way out, except for the best friend of the main character and the roommate. Both of the roommates end up as zombies technically, but the one who lives upstairs and is kind of an asshole dies. But yeah, his best friend though, at the end of the movie, they contain the zombie virus. They contain the zombies, and his best friend is smart enough to still play video games outside in the shed with. And I mean, there is still like temptation to be like, tasty human flesh, but like, no,
there's some resistance.
No, don't. We're playing games. And there's I think just before he goes out and plays in the shed, because that plays in the shed with his best friend, that's the end of the movie. Just before that, he's watching like those silly Japanese like game shows, but zombies are the contestants trying to get to the meat at the end of like this super slippery slide. And they're just falling, and everybody just around there laughing at the zombies trying to get to some meat.
So, like, domestication of zombies?
Yeah.
That would be weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, having a zombie pet.
Oh my gosh.
It was kind of literally like if I had turned and you were Sean in the situation, and I was just out in your back garden shed playing some like I was just sitting there playing some Minecraft or something, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go hang out with my bud for a bit.
It's so weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, if there is like a vaccine or something to prevent the spread of the disease, and there is still that, I guess, some sort of a brain in the people who have turned. That could potentially be a possibility.
Yeah.
Which is kind of weird.
In the Walking Dead world, that's unfortunately not a possibility, which is interesting. Because I don't know if you've actually seen the beginning of the show where they actually go over how the virus works. But what essentially happens is everyone has it, no matter what, if you're dead or alive or whatever, you got it now. After so much time, it's in your system. It just depends on when you die, you're going to be reanimated. And once you get bit, it spreads a secondary virus that makes you go into a cold, and you start hallucinating. You have like visions that aren't real. You start hearing things that aren't real. And you go into this like shock state of cold, and essentially it just kills you. It's too much to handle and you die. And then it gives that initial actual virus that to take over the brain and rise up and start doing its thing.
I had no idea that was, I guess, the lore.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So it's technically two different viruses.
Yeah, it's technically two different viruses.
So then you'd be fine. I mean, you'll still have the one that will turn you into a zombie once you die. But if you don't die, then you're pretty much fine.
Yeah. As long as you don't get bit from somebody who is reanimated I think that's what it is once it's the virus evolving as it becomes like its own defense mechanism, kind of, is what it seems like. Because then once it bites into someone, it spreads. Its evolved version.
And then just kind of like activates.
Yeah.
So that's funny. I was literally just thinking about what if it was something like that.
Yeah.
But see, that one I could see possibly being a realistic one.
Well, I mean, with COVID recently, like, it kind of worked in a way where we had like just a severe cold / flu, and a lot of people died from it. Like,
yeah. Oh my god, that's the start of it.
There are a lot of different cases in media of a normal even virus / event of zombies. It's very interesting.
We definitely have things that kind of lead to a zombie mindset or a zombie, I guess, physical thing. Granted, that's all drugs right now.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It's
like bath salts and all that crap.
Yeah. Or I don't remember which one it is, but there is like the drug that will actually start like eating your muscle and everything. And it'll just like rot you down to like the bones and everything. And I don't know like what the causes of all that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
There could be, I don't know, would that be possible for... No. I'm trying to think, like, a zombie where it's not a virus, but it's like a drug instead. But I'm like, would that even be possible for... It might start out like a virus, but then... But that doesn't make any sense. I don't know how that would work. My brain won't wrap around that.
I'm not sure how that would work either. Because in order for it to be a drug, it would have to be used multiple times, correct? I would think.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe if you used it once and you became a zombie for a limited amount of time, maybe. But I don't know how exactly...
There wouldn't be a way to really spread it.
Well, I mean, there would be a way, but... Like, hey,
yeah.
You want to be a zombie for an hour?
Which, who knows? There could be a drug.
Is just like wild, man. You go around eating like giant lollipops and candy bears. It's just weird.
Oh my god. Imagine thinking you're eating a gummy bear, but it's just a human. That'd be so messed up.
I bit into one and it screamed at me. It was weird.
Tried punching me back.
It tasted good though. And I woke up.
Like,
it was mind blowing, man. I was in a jail. It was wild.
If there is like a drug ever made that could be that like addictive, possibly, or I don't know, like, and just kind of spread it and everyone's spreading it, then there could be like an epidemic of it.
Maybe.
But that would be
I have a hard time thinking of like reasons for like even like cartels and drug like manufacturers to even like want to spread that kind of thing, because if you're constantly like chasing after random people like wanting to eat them, you're like, that doesn't seem like a good way of producing some business.
No. And if everyone that buys it ends up in jail or dead or whatever, then there goes your money.
Yeah, exactly.
So
as
unless there's like
as it is, I
some
don't think
big manufacturer, like, it's not really big, but you know, like a house, it's trying to manufacture a lot, and then something happens, and then that drug gets made accidentally from who knows what, and then that place like explodes because wrong mixture, and then it's airborne, and if it's effective in the air, then you could have like an epidemic in a small area, but it wouldn't ever spread. So,
well, and then that's the whole
beyond everything.
Like, whole next thing is like biological weapons is like somebody just made a mistake in a lab somewhere, and we're like, oh, that's not good. We can't have that out and available. Oh, where'd it go?
You know, for all we know, zombie virus could have already been made.
Oh, I mean,
it just didn't accidentally get out.
I tend to be quite a conspiracy theorist in my own brain, and there's no way there's not a zombie virus in the CDC somewhere.
Yeah. At least one that turns someone into something like that.
Yeah.
They might not be able to spread it. But I would not doubt it.
Yeah, we're not gonna let this out. That's bad.
Obviously, they won't let anyone know about it, because that's...
Yeah. I mean,
way messed up.
We're just getting to thinking about aliens. I don't think people are ready for... Oh, and there's also zombies. I think maybe it's a okay time to ask, what is the epiphany about zombies?
Ooh, it's a good one.
I will admit we did bounce around a lot.
We bounced around a lot. It's gonna be hard to find something out of this.
We also started out with a giant tangent.
that wasn't even related.
Yeah.
My epiphany, Far Cry 6 needs to rework the weapons. God damn.
Just take the same weapon system from 5 and put it into 6, please. I loved the weapon system of 5. It was wonderful and entertaining, and you could build different classes with it. It was great.
As it should be.
It was like single-player COD, except you could just do whatever you wanted. Well, we know it would be hard to take care of the ones we care for.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
That one would definitely have me thinking.
Actually, before we get too deep into this part, would you be able to take care of your family?
I think so. Granted, I think my family would be probably more fine than me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think me and Hayden are here, so if we're here together when like that all goes down,
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll be fine. And then we'll probably be able to meet up with our family. The only one I would worry about would be my sister.
Mm-hmm.
But I know my mother knows about all like survival and edible plants around here and all that stuff. And hiking, and so she would be fine if she needed to go out in the woods and hide. And then my father, he'd be the one that knows how to build shelter and build fires and actually defend. Mm-hmm. So he would be fine. And then me and my brother would just have to get with them. And my poor sister with her child, who knows how that would go.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know about that. I would like to say yes, I think I could. Just to prevent harm from anyone else in the family.
Yeah.
But that one would definitely be one that, like, messes me up mentally.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. How about you?
So that's an interesting thing. I don't think that my oldest brother would be turned, but I also don't think he would be coming. Him and his family would be here. I don't think they'd come here. I think they'd end up, like, in the long term, basically joining up with maybe a group out in where they're located.
Because they're pretty far away, right?
Yeah. On the other hand, my older brother, not oldest, older, I think he would die. Not because he doesn't have the skills or means to get to survive, but because he would be trapped in the city he lives in. And it's big enough that it would be one of the ones that are bombed.
Yeah, and even if it isn't bombed, it would just be so hard to escape that.
Mm-hmm.
You would really have to know your way around, like, urban stealth.
Mm-hmm. And he's not too far into the city, technically, but if with a vehicle, you have to go through the city to get out. Into, like, towards us, at least.
You know that's all going to be blocked.
Yeah. As soon as you get onto any of the freeways, it's screwed. You're screwed, because that's where everybody else is immediately panicking to go towards.
Mm-hmm.
You need to take back roads. And at the beginning of it, you can use GPS still. Use GPS as long as you can. It's gonna be taken down eventually, and things will start, like, losing power and everything. But while you have the time, you can totally use GPS. Use that shit and get out.
I know, I wonder how long power would actually be lasting.
I don't know.
That's another weird thing to think about. That's a research kind of a thing. Like, heavy research.
I think I heard it's supposed somewhere around 2 to 4 weeks is usually how long power would last.
With no maintenance.
Yeah. Like, obviously there's certain situations where people may have their own solar panels and stuff like that, but...
Yeah. And generators and all that stuff.
Me and my mom were talking about getting some solar panels on this house, but... would be an interesting thing. But
just rewire those just for like one plug. Oh, you don't have to.
I mean,
you don't have to power the whole house.
Yeah. Well, and that's the whole beauty of like circuit breakers, right?
That's true.
You could just have one
Just
circuit
start-
being running,
start turning those off.
depending on where everybody's at in the building, to switch to like living room, kitchen. Hell, then maybe you could still have like a computer and play some offline games. They'd never update, but
Just kill the time.
yeah. Have like an hour of computer time every day.
I wonder if the Google offline game would still work.
No, it's actually got removed from Google.
Oh, what? Really?
Yeah, they removed it. Yeah.
That's so saddening.
Mm-hmm. I'm not ready to end the episode yet. I have more topic I want to talk about, actually. I just realized. Is location. I didn't think about locations. What I've been thinking almost every day since I started my job at Home Depot is, wow, this specific area in Home Depot would be such a great space to start the zombie apocalypse.
Wait, to start it?
Yeah.
Or what?
Because because due to the whole power thing, we have our own generator, we have our own, like, we have multiple generators, we have electronic locks on the grate that would slam down in front of the area, and the door is also electronically locked, and it's blast resistant glass on the door to prevent people from getting in. The everything on the in the cage outside is locked up, which sure they could break into and grab things out of, but the more useful thing there is the cage itself. And we also have large stores of gas inside, large good useful equipment and tools, and that could be modified to make epic battle weapons for zombies.
You can make a saw blade launcher.
Oh man, I could. But yeah, it's such a perfect spot, and you also have access to there's quick access to restrooms nearby. So even if the actual full store got taken over, you could still sneak to restrooms, because they're just right there, and eventually you could make your own path and be hidden with some time and effort. And then you could also access the back offices for more space.
You can just set up a little fort in part of the store. My wonder would be how many people would try and come and take that place. Or at least come to ransack it.
Yeah. And
like,
then
you might have to start dealing with people rather than zombies at that point.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. We could still be a place of business. Because, like, sure, we'll still need some of the materials for ourselves, but we have a lot of it. You can have some.
Yeah. Just trade, like, a hammer for, like, one of the...
trading, like, material and tools for weaponry and maybe food and water.
I think that would be the big one, was, like, food and water. Trade for... Don't they also sell, like, little hatchets there, too? And...
yeah, like, tools of all sorts. Yeah.
It's like, God, you can just do anything there. Or there's also the wood supply, if people want to actually do shelters. I guess build little buildings, sheds, whatever.
No, I think, and I can't, with how friendly all of the associates are with each other, I think they would be the ones running it. I don't see a situation where they're not the ones still maintaining that building and becoming their own little group there.
Unless they were like, oh god, I have to go get my family, or go
yeah,
to with my family.
Yeah, which in that case, it's like, if people who work there are smart enough, they'll be like, family, you need to get here now.
Yeah.
This is your place where you need to get to, and we will be able to let you in. I think that would also be the same with Lowe's.
Oh, yeah. Which, I'm like trying to think of what's also around those places.
Mm-hmm.
This Lowe's is just a gas station right out front now.
Mm.
This is Sonic. Go ransack the Sonic. And then Home Depot. What's around there? Because there's the Rite Aid.
There's Rite Aid and a lot of residential.
Yeah.
And then across the road is like Safeway and stuff too, but
yeah.
Then I mean,
that's
across
still
the
a little ways. I'm like
is...
thinking like really like right around the building. The Safeway is still, you know, you have Rite Aid, and then across the highway, and then there's Safeway.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know it's like it's not that far, but in an apocalypse setting, that's pretty far.
Yeah. But at the same time, with Home Depot and everything it has to offer, it's not very far away. Like, it would probably be more like a day trip.
Yeah. Just potential risk that it's like, is it worth it? I think there would be people set up in Safeway and probably have like a trade route.
Maybe.
Between Home Depot and Safeway.
Yeah, probably.
Because I can imagine people like holding up in the bakery area.
Yeah. That's actually a pretty good shot right there.
I mean, it's not like a huge area, but there's only like two entrances. One in the back, which is a metal door, and then the one at the front, which is like the display area. But that wouldn't be that hard to fortify.
No.
There's like the hot case area, and then there's
also, actually a third
like,
entrance that isn't shown, and that's the access to the back rooms. That's one thing you can't see from the outside of the bakery, from the store, is the double doors that go into the back room.
Yeah. And then, oh, they have a pharmacy there, right?
Yeah, it does have a pharmacy in it, yeah.
That would be valuable.
Yeah, that'd be insanely valuable.
Yeah, people would probably hold up there too and protect that.
Yeah.
From raiders. And then probably do a trade route out of it. Or trades out of it.
Yeah, and I mean, there would for sure be people who like come to raid into the tool area that I work in at Home Depot. And the thing is, like, they can start that, but also we have nail guns, so enjoy trying to get through that grated door while being shot at by nail guns.
God, and don't they sell welders there too?
Yeah.
So you could just literally weld together fortifications and like spiked walls or whatever if you needed to.
No, that's exactly what I'm like initially thinking of. Is like we can make the best like zombie road vehicle, like the dream ones. We could have a fleet. Because it doesn't even have to be the Home Depot vehicles. At that point, we can get into any of those cars that are left in our parking lot.
You guys
do anything with them.
Is there one of those big propane tank things?
Yes.
There, or do they do the small trades?
We have, I believe there is a big tank. I don't know if I can actually say how big it is, but it is definitely not the normal size that you see in residential or even at like gas stations. I believe it is bigger.
Oh god. It's like if it's one of those ones that you like the big ones that they usually like refill out of.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of those, like, I don't remember how big those are, but if you could figure out a way to get that like on a truck, on a truck bed, and just figure out how to cut off the end, like metal cut wheels and power tools and everything, and make like a door, and then you could just get inside there, cut holes in the side. You could just have like a rolling tank essentially with that thing.
Yeah.
Which is actually something that I used to think about all the time, because going to elementary school, that's when I really started thinking about it. You know, the small gas station, what was it called? Chuck's? I guess you never went to that school. Anyways, there was a small little gas station, and they had an old fuel truck that just had one of those big old metal tanks on the back of it.
Yeah.
And I always wanted that truck, and I was gonna do exactly that. I was gonna fortify it and everything. I'd have like a troop carrier truck thing for zombie survival. I was like, that would be so cool.
That'd be insane.
Like if you actually have like a group of people to fill that up, and you could do your own little raids, drive somewhere. Especially if you armor up the windows and like have a whole bumper on the front of it. You need to ram into zombies or push other vehicles out of the way.
Well, I mean, that's the thing though, like, is we have those we have Penske vehicles, so like vans and trucks, and so we can, and the department I work in has the keys for those. So we can go into the store, get any amount of sheet metal and anything we want, and weld it to that vehicle. Sure, it'll like lose some gas mileage, but for as far as like needing to raid places, that'd be enough.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, like, you have enough that's nearby. If you could drive to it, you'll be fine. Especially with the gas station, like, across the street.
Carry anything in it as well.
Which, sadly, Home Depot doesn't really carry a whole lot of sheet metal.
No.
Unless they have, like, a bunch in the back. But what's on display, it's not a lot. But they do have a lot of, like, metal pipes and, I guess, it's the racks. I don't know what to call those, where they store like the wood and everything. Those are metal posts going up.
Yeah.
And you could just start taking those down and
we could
making
literally
bars.
use the shelving unit. Yeah.
And so there's definitely enough in there that you could do whatever you need to.
And I mean, thick enough like wooden beams will also prevent damage as well. So we can even use some wood here and there too.
And heck, there's enough wood in there. You could probably get a big old post, and you could start making your own baseball bats and put nails through those.
Yeah,
stuff.
like literally we can make our own tools and everything. Like, it's
That would be
a pretty
an
good
incredible
place to, like, if everyone gets on the same team.
Yeah. Which, you know, that would be hard.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the associates are pretty friendly with each other. Like, obviously there'd be these one or two that are like bad eggs that need weeded out, but
you probably have people that are totally against it to begin with, and they'll try and steal stuff for themselves. Those you just gotta get rid of. And then you'll probably have people that'll join the group, but in all reality, they'll probably try and tear it apart from the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Which those people would be the real struggle.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like, if you have friends or if other people have friends and they want to bring them in, that one's also going to be really difficult.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, how do we trust these people? Some people might be opposed to someone and they'll start possibly having arguments, and you know how everything is in a crisis. Ugh. People go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, then there's the auto parts stores.
Yeah.
Like just across the road too.
Yeah.
You get a lot of oil.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, we also already have a lot of oil.
True. And all the flammable chemicals.
Mm-hmm. Like, I'm pretty sure if we wanted to, we could, like, make napalm.
You could probably start even making, like, pneumatic weapons.
Mm-hmm.
Ones where you, like, pump up to get enough power to actually shoot a projectile or something.
Yeah.
Especially with auto parts store, because they have a lot of, like, small hoses. I know Home Depot does too, but auto parts stores are going to have just a lot of random fittings and possibly better, like, metal ones.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a lot of...
I don't know if they'll have better. I think that it'll be more specific items that they'll have. They'll have more specific things that we may need.
Also, keeping your vehicles up and running.
Mm-hmm.
They'll probably have at least some parts for it.
Yeah.
Which, and even if they don't have the parts you need, you probably can modify enough.
Yeah. Can
start having like Mad
literally
Max
just start
vehicles.
scrapping the vehicles that like shut down on us, and or like we don't think will be good for certain things.
And I'm trying to think of if you guys have stuff there that you could turn into like a good forge. Because if you needed to, you could probably like start taking apart vehicles, take like the leaf springs out or the coil springs or whatever, and you could start making knives or swords or machetes or whatever.
I'd be surprised if we didn't already like sell like certain forging equipment already.
Don't think you guys actually do. Not that I've noticed.
Yeah.
You guys have the hammers for it.
Mm-hmm.
Have the gloves for it, which those are just welding gloves, so like of course. But you guys don't have like fire bricks or anything like that. Not that I've ever noticed.
We might not have fire bricks, but I think we have plenty of like stone pavers and stuff that would be workable.
So it'll be doable.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if you use pavers and stuff and you have cement, you can make a good forge. And you guys clearly have the propane and the propane fittings and stuff, so you could make a pretty good forge. The anvil would be a hard part. I'm sure you could do something.
We could probably find something that would work. Yeah.
I'm just curious. I want to know what would.
What would be best.
I'm gonna go and walk around Home Depot. Just look at
like tabletop vices. They have a mini anvil on the back of them anyway.
True. It'd be so hard to work with, though.
I mean, I'm just thinking to start. You know,
yeah.
We could probably at some point just melt down like a bunch of bulk metal that we have and make our own anvil. Maybe like a brass one.
Actually, that would probably be the best anvil you can get out of just scrap metal. because I know the composition of anvils is so weird. You wouldn't want just a solid chunk of metal. But brass will actually, it's a softer metal than steel. It'll be able to take a shock and be so much easier to work on.
Yeah.
Or if you really wanted to, you could take like just a bunch of the vices. You have enough and weld those together and have like a bigger platform to work on. That would be interesting. Is it bad that I kind of want to try that now? It's like Home Depot forge setup. Home Depot survival forge setup.
That'd be an interesting thing to try and come together with. Yeah.
That would be...
I'm kind of interested in it now, too.
Right? And you guys have decent metal there that you can... I mean, it's not like decent for knives or whatever, but like decent stock that you can turn into it. You'd end up having something that's more brittle, and so your knives and stuff that you make will end up breaking a lot more. Or, I mean, it would be better to have them brittle than too soft.
Yeah.
So I'd rather have a blade that breaks in half than one that gets deformed and is completely dull. Half sharp blade is better than a full dull blade.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to be like stabbing into like a couple of dead things and then be like, oh, I have to resharpen this already? Okay.
Yeah. Or it completely bends. And then it's just completely unusable. Or if you try and hit something hard with it, it just is so bent. I mean, you'd probably be able to straighten it, but after a while, it would just bend so easily and it wouldn't even get enough shock into a zombie to really phase it.
Yeah.
I mean, there definitely is good metal there for knife making.
Oh, for
just
sure.
get all like the files and the wrenches and stuff. You can really make some good things there. And then, of course, take apart the cars, and you could really have like swords if you wanted, if you took apart cars. Which those you could probably start selling or trading for food and
no, like I said, like weapons and weapons, materials, all sorts of stuff would be able to be good for trade from Home Depot. Oh my gosh. And that's the thing that even just the couple times I've gone into Lowe's, they don't seem like I may be a little biased, but I'm not sure yet. They don't seem like the associates are all like buddy. Like, obviously some are going to be friendly with each other, but like Home Depot, like, we literally work to know each other hard. We do our best to get to know each other and be friendly with each other. That's part of working there. You have to do. Everybody knows everyone, and you are part of the group now, is essentially the gist. And it's kind of cool. The only reason I know some of the people there is because, like, they have been directly in path to me getting through some things. It's very interesting to try and go through that.
You'll have a good team if the apocalypse starts while you're at work. I'm like, that makes me think of like what my work would be like if it started then.
Chaos.
Found out then, I would be stuck on an island. That would be not fun.
Oh yeah,
I would have to try and steal a boat, but that might not be that hard, because I feel like a lot of people would be like, oh, it's safer on the island.
Yeah, stay on the island. Yeah.
Which actually might be a good idea. But at the same time, I would want to leave and try and meet up with my family.
Is there a bridge to the island?
No.
It's purely only water access?
It's only ferries.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be kind of interesting.
But food supply would start running out.
Oh yeah, quickly. It's not a big island.
Granted, there's a lot of horses.
It's
messed up.
I don't know how long it would take to get that far, but Yikes, man.
Hey, horse meat is not that bad.
I'm not gonna ask.
There's cultures that actually just genuinely choose to eat that.
I know.
I mean, well, I guess there's cultures that genuinely choose to eat cats and dogs and other things like that. But well, there's cows and sheep and goats, everything.
Yeah.
So those would go first, and the chickens. A lot of those would go first. But there's also
Horses
a lot of land.
are a thing that you could use like to farm as well.
Yeah, I was about to say that. I'm like, there's a lot of land for pastures, and you could turn that into growing food, which would not be a bad idea.
Yeah, horses are a good labor animal.
So the young ones would probably survive for a long time, and the old ones would eventually probably be eaten.
Yeah,
if it goes to that.
And like you could just like keep that life cycle going for at least a little while. I don't know if you have enough horses.
Oh, I don't know if there's anyone. Oh, there's got to be someone on the island that has a non-fixed horse.
Well, I'm sure there's nowhere that's not possible.
I don't know, when it comes to horses, I feel like from my experience so far that I've seen it's
Is it really that rare for people to not to fix their their horse?
It's only the boys, and they call it gelding, and pretty much majority of them are gelded.
Wow.
That I've heard of / seen.
That's kind of surprising.
It's like, for the most part, you only keep them with that in them if you're planning on breeding. I mean, granted, there's got to be someone, I'd imagine.
There's got to be someone.
But who that person is, who knows? But yeah. I guess we have... Oh no, I think he did get fixed. Dang it.
Well...
Yeah, we have a young horse. But I think he recently just got fixed. Like, darn it. He could have been our hope.
Yeah. I think that is the entirety of what I really wanted to get also in there. So, with all of that being said, what is the epiphany about zombies?
I think that last little tangent didn't really change the in there.
No.
I think the closest thing to an epiphanology is thinking about what the heck I'm gonna do about friends and family.
That it is a hard thought.
That's putting thought to that. Like,
yeah, that
I would wanna say like, yeah, I can do it, but it's
hard. It's hard to think about, and it's hard to even do.
You would not be able to actually answer that unless the time came. Yeah. Then even then, it would take so much debate.
And at the same time, it's a like fight or flight moment right in the midst of it as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, in those scenarios, it's fight, flight, or die. Like,
yeah, definitely.
Because if you choose fight, there comes that sense of like, this is my mom, this is my dad, this is my brother, this is my sister. Like, this is my family, this is my friend. How am I gonna even like attempt to hurt them?
Yeah. I feel like if my fight mode kicks in, those thoughts wouldn't be there. It'll be like, how do I survive this? Like, oh, they're coming at me, and I gotta dodge this hand, and then figure out how to take them out. And then afterwards, that's when it'll hit, like, oh, I just did that to my family. But if I run, then I'll run, and I'll have time to think about it. And then at that point, I don't think I'd be able to do it. If I actually let myself put thought to it. So I think it would actually be easier to do in the moment.
I think so too. Yeah.
It's just
like if I just happened to like partially open like the front door and mom and dad were returned, I'd freeze probably. Be like, because like assuming they hadn't noticed, I don't know what I'd do. I'd immediately be like, oh god, I have to do that, or I have to just lock it and hope they don't get out. And I mean, honestly, I'd hope to be able to just lock it and be like, okay, they're in there. But if I don't know if I'd be able to like take them out or anything. I'd want to like, I want to know if they're actually still there or not. But honestly,
try yelling at them through the door.
There's no way that mom would be able to work in that kind of a world. And I think without mom, dad goes too.
Which, I mean, can't blame him.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's how like, my family
maybe
would be,
not like actually like I'm done, I can't do this anymore, I'm gonna like irk, you know?
Yeah.
I think he would just be lost. He'd have
he
nothing, he wouldn't know what to do. He would just be catatonic pretty much.
He wouldn't put that full effort of like, oh, I need to survive.
Mm-hmm. Like he's a 70-year-old man. I don't.
Yeah. At that point, I feel like that's already hard enough.
Yeah. Which, boom, there's the solution for an anvil. I can just steal the one that's here.
Yeah. If you could make it there and back. If you were starting from Home Depot.
Oh, I definitely could. If I had a vehicle, hell yeah, I could. Mm-hmm. That'd be easy peasy.
Yeah, especially because you're already on that side of that city.
Mm-hmm.
Only issue would be the roads, but there's a couple options for back roads.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd probably be able to get through it.
Yeah. See, so I want to do this without like doxing myself too hard. So Home Depot comes out on that road like that goes right across from it, right?
Right.
From at least the main entrance to the parking lot. And that goes to the back road that goes by Maris Farms.
Yeah.
So you can take along that, and connecting to part of that comes out next to the toll booth. Not the toll booth, but the way station. Like one of the roads next to it.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You can cross to the other side there, where it's going to be less traffic area, and it's probably going to be more spread out between like people. So you can cross to the other side of that road there, and then take pipeline all the way down to my road.
Yeah.
I think that would be the best route.
I can't imagine that would actually be like blocked up with traffic.
No, I don't.
You might have to deal with people here and there.
Yeah.
But those roads are so
I might have to maneuver
empty.
a little bit, but I think that's all I'd have to do.
Yeah.
I think that's an easy bet right there.
Then get back the same way.
Mm-hmm. Or a similar way. I don't know if I'd do the same way, but maybe until getting back across towards Maris Farms, I might do a little alt route after that point. Just so I don't cross some closer areas. Because obviously you gotta worry about like people and ambushing and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. But she might run into a random roadblock too.
Mm-hmm.
If people are gonna plan that. Because those roads would be easy to block.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine anyone would be trying to set that up until a little bit
later. Yeah. So that's our thoughts on this.
There could definitely be more. We just took this route.
Yeah.
This time. There's so many routes where our thoughts could have gone.
Yeah. There definitely could be more, and there will be more.
There will be.
like I said, this is our first zombies episode, and also possibly our first episode. So,
I feel like there were a couple little hiccups here and there, but
yeah,
for the most part.
And if they're edited outable, then they will be, and you won't have to worry about them, dear listener.
Hi, listener. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for doing that heckin' listen with your ear holes.
Imagine actually listening in this day and age.
Right?
Wow.
God, I mean, maybe one day we won't have to worry about that too much.
It'll all be transmitted to our brains.
Just think thonking through our eye camera shit. I don't know.
Totally could not be possible leak of something. Who knows?
Maybe.
No way.
The possibilities are endless. But until next time, that has been our episode of Epiphanology. We hope you enjoyed it. Next time we'll talk about maybe some other stuff. And some other stuff, you know?
I think we just teased possibility.
Yeah, we did just tease it a little bit there.
Kind of mixed match or normal order, but...
Yeah. You can contact us through the email in our description of this episode or on the banner on our YouTube page for any questions you may have for us, any topics you'd like to hear us talk about, or any business inquiries you may have. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.